When my son called me to his apartment, he said, "Dad, I need you to meet my real father, Michael." When Nathan opened his apartment door, I saw the man standing behind him in my son's living room. My stomach dropped, in a way I'd only experienced once before, the day my wife Catherine told me she was pregnant 23 years ago. The man was tall, maybe 6'2", with salt and pepper hair, styled in that expensive casual way that screamed money, careful grooming. He wore a charcoal sweater, probably cost more than my monthly car payment. He smiled at me, like we were meeting at a country club mixer, instead of in the cramped studio apartment I'd helped Nathan furnish. When he graduated college last year, Nathan stood between us, hands clasped in front of him, looking nervous, but also excited, in a way that made my chest tighten. He'd asked me to come over Saturday morning, said he had something important to discuss. I'd driven across town, thinking maybe he'd gotten engaged to his girlfriend Olivia, or landed that marketing job he'd been interviewing for. Instead, I was standing in his doorway, staring at a stranger who apparently had some claim on my son. I'd raised Nathan since the day Catherine brought him home from the hospital, wrapped in a blue blanket with sailboats on it. I was the one who walked the floors at 3 in the morning when he had colic. I taught him to ride a bike in our driveway, running alongside him, hand on the seat, until he found his balance, pedaled away from me, wobbling but triumphant. I sat through every parent-teacher conference, every little league game, every piano recital. Catherine and I divorced when Nathan was 15, but I never missed a weekend visit, never forgot a birthday, never stopped being his father, in every way that mattered. Michael extended his hand toward me with the kind of confidence that suggested he'd never been rejected in his life. "You must be David. Nathan's told me so much about you." His voice was smooth, practiced, like he'd rehearsed this introduction. I didn't take his hand. I looked at Nathan instead, asked him what the hell was going on. My son flinched at my tone, but gestured for me to come inside. Sit down. The apartment felt smaller, with 3 of us in it, walls pressing in. As I moved past the second-hand couch, coffee table I'd helped Nathan haul up 3 flights of stairs 6 months ago. Michael sat in the armchair I'd given Nathan from my own living room. When he moved out, that detail bothered me more than it should have. Nathan perched on the edge of the couch, started talking fast, the way he always did when he was nervous. He said he'd taken one of those DNA ancestry tests 3 months ago, just for fun, curious about his heritage. The results came back, showing he had a close relative match he didn't recognize. He reached out to the match through the website's messaging system. That's how he found Michael. Michael picked up the story from there, leaning forward in my armchair, elbows on his knees, like he was settling in to tell a campfire story. He explained that he and Catherine had a brief relationship 24 years ago, before she met me. When she got pregnant, she told him she didn't want him involved. She said she was going to raise the baby on her own. Michael claimed he respected her wishes, stepped back, but he always wondered about the child. When Nathan's DNA match appeared in his account, Michael said he knew immediately it had to be his son. They'd been talking for weeks, getting to know each other, building a relationship. Nathan was nodding along to this narrative, like it made perfect sense, like it was a heartwarming reunion story, instead of a betrayal of everything we'd built together. I asked Nathan why he hadn't told me any of this. He said he wanted to be sure before he brought it up. He wanted to get to know Michael first, to see if the connection was real. Now, he was sure, and he thought it was time for us all to meet, so we could figure out how to move forward as a family. The word family hit me like a fist to the gut. I left Nathan's apartment without saying goodbye to Michael, sat in my truck in the parking lot for 20 minutes, trying to process what had just happened. My hands were shaking so badly, I couldn't get the key in the ignition. At first, I kept replaying the scene, the way Nathan had looked at Michael, with admiration, curiosity, the way he'd used the word real, like it was a knife, designed specifically to cut me. I finally got the truck started, drove to Catherine's house, across town. She'd remarried 5 years ago, to a decent guy named Paul, who sold insurance, didn't cause problems. Catherine answered the door, in yoga pants and a sweatshirt, hair pulled back in a ponytail. She smiled when she saw me, until she registered my expression. Then her face changed. I told her we needed to talk, about Nathan and Michael Thornton, and that's when Catherine's face went completely white. Full story is linked below or on my channel.